Sisters chatting with each other, getting to know one another, talking about issues that we're all facing, good, bad, indifferent. Let's talk about it from one sister to another. Let's talk about it.
Hey.
Hey. Welcome.
Welcome. We are live. Live and in color. Listen, we want to welcome you all today to Sister Friend. Let's talk about, this is our launch party, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it is.
We done came out. What's that Diana Ross said?
I'm coming out.
Hey.
I want the world to know. Gotta let it
So we know who the
Okay.
singer is.
Today.
Look, any day it's not me. I can tell you that. But yes. So again, thank you so much. We want to thank everyone for coming on in. There is time for you to come on in and make sure you are sharing, like, comment. We want to hear from you. We want to see who's coming in on tonight to hear Sister Friend. Let's talk about it, because you are our sister friend.
Amen.
Yes, you are. And listen, if there's some guys that are coming on, you are a friend.
Just not a sister.
Just not a sister. And it's okay. We welcome you as well. So I'm excited to be with my sister friend. This is Wanda Gibson.
And this is Cassandra Foy.
Hey.
What up?
And we are sister friends. So we want to first, again, to remind you that as you're coming in, don't be selfish with this thing. Come on, like, share, put a comment in there. Good evening. We see.
Invite your friends.
Yes. Kimberly Eccles. Good evening. Sakanda. Good evening. Good evening. India Scott. Good evening. Thank y'all for joining us. As more come on, we are so appreciative. We don't take this for granted
at all.
We thank you for your support and your love. That's right. Send some love. Send some love our way. Heart us up. All those good things. So we want to first let you know who we are. For those who may be meeting us for the first time, who are we? I want to let you know that this woman right here, she's awesome. And I say that because a lot of times we look at people and we think that because of who they are, because what we see them accomplish, what they do, we don't think about what they've been through to get there.
Right.
And I'm grateful that she's willing to share and be open and transparent with the things that she's been through. And not just that, but she'll share not just tips, but wisdom. Because a lot of people share tips. She share wisdom on how to go through things in life. So I want to make sure, even though we also both are, we tell people all the time, we are Christians. We are both pastors. And I'm going to let her share a little bit about as well, because I can go on about her.
She's funny. I just want y'all to know that now. She's funny. Good evening, Deirdre and Vicky. We thank God for you joining us as well. My name is Wanda Gibson. I was married for 23 years. I am a divorcee of 11 years.
Wow, has it been that long?
Wow, I think it's 12 years. It'll be 12 years this year. I have two grown sons. My oldest son is Captain. Hey, Bridget. It's Captain Marcus Edgell. He's in the Army. He is deployed right now, so keep him in prayer, please. I have 5 granddaughters, all girls. The oldest is 14. Miss Imani, she just turned 14 last month. Yeah, Ilani is 13. The twins, Raven and Riley, are 8. They'll be 9 this summer. Wow. And little Leilani is 2. She'll be 3 this summer. So I thank God for my family. And this is my sister friend. We've been friends for 30 years, I want to say. Met in the church. Her mama is my mama. I claim her. I love her dearly. Let's see. What else have I been through? Whew. Let's see. I've been through foreclosure. Yeah, funny story behind that. We'll talk about that another day.
Yeah, that's another day. Yeah.
But the Lord has blessed me with another house, so I thank God for that. Mm-hmm. Let's see, what else? I work for the state. I'm a full-time pastor. And this one got me involved in some other kind of business. You know.
We are entrepreneurs. Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
This is my sister friend. I love her. She is. This is a strong. I know some of my friends think I'm a strong person, but this woman right here, you know, God lets us go through things because of who we are, because he knows we can deal with it. I tell you, I don't know if I could have dealt with some of the stuff she dealt with, but I'm going to let her tell the story.
Wow. Well, as some of you may know, I'm Cassandra Foy. And as we already stated, we grew up in the church. You know, that's what we do. We know that church every day, all day. That's what we were brought up in.
Yeah.
And I am married to a wonderful man of God, Pastor Hector Foy, for 30 years. We've been married. Woohoo! And we have 4 grown children, okay? And 2 grandchildren. I too have a son in the military. So we are have that in common, but amongst other things. And oh wow, this November it'll be 8 years pancreatic cancer free. We like I said, we both have businesses. We work in ministry. We do a lot of other things.
We busy,
but you know, it's a good busy. And I'm grateful for that. So we're thanking God that he allowed us to have this platform, because what we have found out in our discussion, and we could talk about that because we're going to be talking about us throughout the whole, you know, every time we get on, we're going to say something about us. Anyway.
Right.
So yeah. So we, let's talk about why we got this together, Wanda. So yeah, it
was like you said, you know, this is the bossy one. I just want y'all to know that first. So every time we get together to do something, you know, we plan it out. We kind of have that in common as well. We got to be organized because we can't stand not to be. Mm-mm. So when we're discussing things, we, you know, even though we love each other dearly, we find out that we don't agree on everything.
That's right.
And it's okay for us not to agree on everything. But we like to talk about why we don't agree or what, how you view something versus how I view something, and come to some common ground. If there is a common ground, what we realize through this is that everyone has their opinion, and you're entitled to your opinion. You don't have to agree.
Right. You do not.
You could just, your opinion is just that, your opinion. So
it.
we figured if we're having these discussions, and we know that some of the things we talk about is not acceptable. Or mainstream. Right. So we wanted to give women a platform where you can have those discussions that, you know, we don't talk about in church. Right. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about and
yeah. So she's a singer. Why are you doing that? Because all y'all quick. Just being clear about that. And that's true. There's a lot of things in the church has deviant, all that could not have allowed us to have those real conversations. We kind of tiptoe around but we don't really talk about it. We give the aspects of it. Right. And that's all, don't get wrong. That's good. We believe in the word. But at the same time, we have to make sure, just like we often say in the word, if someone is hungry, right? You're just not going to give them scripture. You're going to feed them.
That's right.
Right? So that's what we want. We want to have those hard conversations. We're passionate about the conversation, but we're not hard on our sisters. Right? And I think that's what we have made the mistake. We have made a mistake of being hard on each other. And it's not about each other. It is about dealing with the issue. So that's what we're going to be talking about, a lot of those things. Now, one of the things that we have to find out, one of our topics, and I don't know if we want to talk about some of our topics that we're going to be bringing up, just saying.
Yeah, we can.
We need to know if there's anybody out there that's ever been a side chick.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
I have.
Come on, put it in the chat. Both hands, both feet. I'm just saying. But we need to talk about that. A lot of times when we have women that come into church who have a past, who have history, and if you be honest, we all got some kind of past. It may not have been that. If we were honest and truthful, there's something. Maybe you were a liar. I'm just saying that's still a sin. I mean, I don't understand why we measure different things that we feel that are appropriate or acceptable. Right. So we need to make sure that we are honest first with ourselves. So if there's anybody ever been in a side check, we need to talk to you. We want to talk about women in leadership because there are things that they deal with as leaders, that we deal with as leaders, that maybe someone else may not ever have to deal with.
Right.
Whether it's leadership in the church, leadership in the corporate sector, leadership in the marketplace, wherever that may be, we want to have that conversation. How are you handling your leadership roles? We want to know, has anyone ever approached you? I had someone, I'm just going to share this story. And just so you give an idea of kind of some things we're going to be talking about too in this aspect. As a businesswoman, there are times where, especially I would say about 5-6 years ago, there were times where people of different ethnic backgrounds may not understand or may not want to understand, put it that way, a person of a black or brown, person of color, woman of color, especially coming into a certain space, right? So dealing with that, being able to deal with people who come to you and ask you a question as if like, why are you here? We have to be able to understand that everybody is not going to accept us. And we listen, accept us or not, we here. And we want to have those conversations as well.
And at the same token, we don't want to exclude our lighter skinned sisters or our different ethnic sisters. We want everybody involved in the conversation. Look, somebody's got to bridge that gap. Somebody's got to bring the races together. That's one of the things we're going to deal with, the races, because there's a lot of racial tension in the world today. And we've got to come to a place where we can come together and agree on something.
Right.
So we want to include everybody in the conversation, get everybody's perspectives. Maybe we can learn something from each other.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not looking at it from their standpoint and they're not seeing it from ours. So let's talk about it.
And I know some people are probably like cringing already, right? Oh my God, did she just say that? Yes, she said it. But that is true. Somebody have to start the conversation.
Somebody has to.
And then we have women who have been abused.
Absolutely.
Who have been raped, molested, having that hard conversation, being someone who has been attacked in their home, haven't being able to talk. And what are you doing when you see that person? That person has not been, brought to justice, right? What do you do? How do you react? So we want you to join us in the comments. We want to get your comments. We want to get your suggestions. We want to know what topics you want to hear. And not that we have all the answers. That's why we're going to be having a conversation with you.
Right.
And then we'll have special guests as well. And we have some awesome guests coming on. So you'll hear more about that later. We want you to know that this platform will be streamed live on Facebook, and it will also be coming on YouTube starting next month. It'll be on YouTube because we're only going to be coming on once a month for now. That's our goal. But we are excited about all the topics and conversation. We have some other topics too that we're going to be discussing. Let's see, what other topics we have?
Well, we're going to be doing women in leadership often because there's so many different roles that women take on. But we also want to talk about the hypocrisy in the church.
Oh,
Lord have mercy. Mercy. We also want to talk about phobias that we have as women. We have some phobias. We might look strong and act strong, but when the rubber meet the road, let a spider crawl up on this table. I'm out.
Girl, bye.
Okay.
You and me both.
We are out. So, there's some struggles. We know that the Bible tells us that, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. But that don't change the fact that, we have those moments.
Yeah.
So, we want to talk about those phobias, and we also want to talk about those addictions.
Yeah. I'll say, speaking of those moments, and you mentioned earlier about the sex talk. In our school systems, you hear them having these conversations with our children. But we're not having them with them at home. And we need to make sure we're having those conversations, especially when it comes to sex, because the young people want to know. Look, the older people want to know. Okay?
Look, the young people know some stuff that we don't want them to know.
Right. They already know.
So let's deal with it.
Let's deal with it. Because even I walked in on a conversation an educational setting where they were talking to the children about telling them, you know, about masturbation, talking to them about even like just sex in general. And a lot of
where they're giving out condoms now
Right.
in the schools.
Right.
I mean,
and they've been doing that for like a couple of decades now, right? Y'all better come on and get with it. Recognize what's going on. We can't shut our eyes and act like it's not happening. It's happening. And that's why we need to have these conversations in the church as well, not just, you know, leave it up to everybody else, because who better to give them that information where it's balanced,
right?
You know, and that's where it should come from.
And we also want to equip each other,
Right.
like, because I have granddaughters.
Yeah,
I didn't have daughters, so now I've got granddaughters who are going through stuff at a much earlier age than I ever did, and things that I've never had to go through.
Right.
So, you know, y'all might be able to help me on how do I have those conversations. Well, y'all know I'm not too shy of talking, but at the same time, I might have to learn how to soften my words, how to say it differently so that they can receive it. So these are the conversations that we want to have, you know, and we want to deal with us single women, you know, because, you know, this is Miss Married, and anybody who knows her knows how much her and her husband love. They sickening sometimes. Let me just put it that way. They so in love. That's why they have a show called So in Love. And that was not a shameful plug. That was an honest plug. If you don't know it, you better check that out as well. But for those of us who are single and saved and yet we want to be married, or maybe you don't want to be married, how do you deal with that? How do you keep how do you allow the Lord to keep you and keep yourself?
Yeah.
Because it's a struggle and it's real.
Because there are a lot of women in the church that are having sex. And we need to have that conversation, ladies. We need to talk about that. Let's talk about it. And not to expose anyone, but my thing is, if we're going to be transparent, let's do it. And there may be some that may be willing to share past experience or current experience, because the bottom line is that we want to make sure that we're whole. And we're going to be talking about those other topics that can help us be whole, like our finances, making sure that we are on top of our, not just our bills, but also things that will make us financially whole. You know, having a will, having an advance directive, making sure our stuff is in order. One of the things that I learned earlier in my marriage, because for so long, you know, back in the day, you know, the wife did not touch the money. You know, pretty much, if anything, the husband came home, gave her the money, it was all for the bills. Or vice versa, he took care of everything and they didn't know. And what would happen, somebody wouldn't know what was going on.
Right.
It wasn't like a conversation about it. It was like, okay, here's the money, pay the bills. Here's the money, pay the bill. And then if something was to happen to one of them, the other one was left like, I have no clue.
Right. And then the other thing, you know, dealing with money, we want you to invest learn how to invest your money, how to grow your money, how to start a business. You know, those things that can help make you independent in case something should happen to your husband or your spouse. And
if you're not married, just to have that, you know, be able to have that freedom,
to
do something.
You know, and Bridget brought up a good point here: how to live with how to live when you lose a husband that's been in your life for more than 31 years.
Right.
You know, how do you deal with that? When does the mourning end, or does the mourning end? Does it just change? Because you know, we know a lot of women, especially older women, who have lost their husbands, who are yet mourning. You know, so how do we help them get through that? Can we help them? What do we do? Do we talk about it? Of course, we got to talk about it. That's why we're here. But at the same time, we got to know when to be quiet and just let them talk. You know, just
and
be
let
there
them have that time of mourning. Because who's to say how much time it takes?
You can't put a limit on it.
You can't put a limit on that. Now, I would say that you have to be careful and watch the person, right? And see where it's going, because there are sometimes people fall into a deep depression, and we want to be mindful of that.
Know what the signs are.
Know what the signs are.
You know, I often tell my congregation it's okay for you to have issues, or to have mourning, or to have whatever the problem is, but don't let the problem have you. Right. So how do you get there? And what do you need to do to make sure you don't get there? So, you know, that is one of the things we want to deal with. And that's probably that, you know, that's one of the topics that we have, being divorced and widow. What do you do after? Because both of them are a place of mourning, but it's a different type of mourning. you know,
Yeah.
and both of them can bring about anger. So how do you get past
Right.
that, or how do you get through it while you're going through it? So we want to
That's
talk
true.
about that, and we
Yeah.
know some people that have been there that may even be there. So Bridget,
Right.
you know, don't hide from me.
Yeah, right. Because we want to erase that shame too.
Right.
Sometimes people feel like shameful or feel like no one understands what they're going through, whether it is a divorce, whether you lost someone, whether it's if you were that side chick, or whether you know have experienced adultery, or whatever it is, a sickness. Some sicknesses, some illnesses, people feel like they're out, like they're put on the outside. They can't be around a certain group of people. They're not accepted, and it's not always something you can see.
Right.
We look at people and we often feel like, oh, well, they look fine, they're okay, but on the inside they're hurting.
That's right.
Because it's not just about physical sickness, but it's also emotional sicknesses, spiritual sicknesses, mental sickness, all those things. So we want to definitely talk about those things. That's what, like you said, that's what we're here for. So we're going to talk about it. Kimberly Echo says, be prepared for unexpected circumstances. That's so
that
true.
Is absolutely
Let
true.
me just share this. And my husband had went through, and you remember this too, Wanda, when he went through his blood clot situation. Yeah. And that, to be honest, for me, that was very scary. I don't care how, you know, how spiritual you are, right?
Right.
How much you love God.
How much you pray. All of that.
You know, how much you meditate, whatever it is you do.
Life happens.
And the girl was scared because they literally called me on my job. So you to come to the hospital right now. We're rushing your husband to the ER. And I was like, what? Like, what? So, long story short, I'm grateful, one, for my faith and my belief, but I'm also thankful for sister friends. Amen. Like my sister friend right here. You know, a lot of times when we go through things, we have to be able to be transparent. Right. We're hurting, even though, yes, the other person should be, you know, kind of keeping in touch, that kind of stuff. But guess what? We have to learn how to be our own advocate too. That's right. We have to learn how to cry out and say, I need help. It's okay. Don't feel bad about asking for help. Don't feel bad about needing help. That's the only way you're going to get it. A lot of times is by asking. It doesn't happen by osmosis. Doesn't happen by somebody, you know, getting a prophetic word. Like, oh my, that's not, listen, most of the time it's not how it happens. We have to be able to say, sister friend, I need you. Right. Sister friend, help me out. Yeah, we got to stop fronting that everything's okay, because it's not. I'm blessed and highly favored with the Lord. Yes, you are. But guess what? Right. I have the gift of faith, but that don't mean I don't waver every now and again. Yeah. Stuff happens. You know, we really have to take that time to be considerate of each other and stop looking on the outward appearance. Yeah. And start realizing that there's stuff that people are dealing with on a regular basis. Right. You know, we may not be able to see it. You know, speaking of that, because you know folks are still talking about it. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Will and Jada and Chris Rock, right? Yes. Right? Yeah. So you know, how do we feel about that? How do we feel about that slap? And it's amazing because my son is an advocate for what Will did, considering Jada's condition. Now, I have alopecia. Matter of fact, I have the worst kind of alopecia, the rare kind, alopecia universalis. If I get close, y'all can see I had to draw all this in, but they're not even, so don't look too hard. Listen. Don't do it. So I have no bodily hair. But as a woman who suffers from, and I don't call it suffering because it is what it is for me. You know, when I look at my life, when I look at what God could have taken from me, right? When I look at what he could have allowed me to have, if all he wanted was my hair, hey, you got that. I'm good. So, right, I got my wrap on because, you know, I'm in menopause and, you know, either I'm hot or I'm cold. So if I snatch it off, don't get upset. Anyway. So as a woman who has alopecia, you know, he confronted me with that. How do you feel about that? And, you know, for me, y'all know I got an opinion about everything. I was like, I understand Will's need to defend his wife. But at the same time, it could have been handled differently. Right. It really could have. Yeah. That's my opinion. Yeah. And that's most of the time they could be handled different.
Yeah.
And you know what? We had this conversation earlier. And what I'm just gonna jump to Jada. We talked about Will enough, y'all. Okay. What I love, I've heard nothing from her. She don't have to say anything really. She nothing to say. But on the flip side of that, all these people who said they're so concerned about, oh, she's alopecia, she shouldn't have. That's all I heard. I haven't heard no one. I haven't seen no memes for her. I haven't seen nothing on the reels really, except when she's with him, that kind of thing. So I'm like, where's everybody at for that? Now, as far as Will, like you said, it could have been handled differently because if he had stopped at the slap, he probably could have got away with it a little bit. But when he got to his seat,
that was
a bit much. Yeah. My thing is, all the way while you're walking to the stage, first of all, as you're walking to the stage, nothing like said, maybe it's not a good idea. On the way back to your seat, nothing. See, this is why I said people can say, I meditate. People can say, whatever. If you're human in this flesh, somebody mentioned that earlier. I think Bridget said we are all human. If you are human in this flesh and you're not checking that flesh on a regular basis, guess what? You are liable to do something that you think. That's why I said you can never say what you won't do unless you're in that situation. So yeah,
Bridget, I'm loving you tonight. Bridget brought up something else about forgiving and forgetting, and I think that is something that I think most people struggle with it, but I think we as women struggle with it even more because we're the nurturers. We take something in, we give it life, we nurture it, we grow it. Yeah. So when stuff like that happens, sometimes you don't know how to forgive. And even if you do forgive, there's always that reminder of what happened. So how does the relationship, because the relationship will tend to change. Yeah. And are you okay with the change?
That's a friend.
Right.
You don't expect your friends to treat you like that. Right. Because a friend is a friend.
Supposedly.
Much as, listen, first of all, we sister friends. Don't play me. Because I always tell my daughter this. Don't ever let a man come between your friendship.
A man or money.
And I'm talking about, and now those who are married, don't jump on me. That's not what I'm saying. Hear me out. Because in college, high school, college, you develop these friendships and then you meet somebody. Then it's like all of a sudden, because they don't want you, around certain people, that kind of stuff, then you fall out with your friends. Don't do that. Don't do that. First of all, make sure he's the one for you.
Yeah, hello, let's start there.
You giving up all your friends for somebody is not even a lifelong partner for you. You
been there, done that.
Right in the book.
Hello, look, and the other thing is you have to the flip side of that is if hanging around your single friends causes you to act single, then maybe you do need to distance yourself. There needs to be that understanding of I'm married now, so it's not that I don't love you anymore or I love you less, but my life has changed, and that's friends have to be okay with your change. Just like in a marriage, you have to be nobody saying the same. We get bad, look, and I'm all of that about now. So there's changes that we have to deal with, and we really have to be accepting of those changes and help each other. Because look, every change is not an easy change.
Every change is not an easy change.
So we got to be willing to help each other through these. Look, when I decided to cut my hair up, because it was coming out so fast that by the time, and mind you, it started in December. By February, I was just about completely bald. I mean, I had strands left. So with that quick with it happening that quick, thank God for friends who stood by me. And I'm here with my sister friend, but I had other friends who were with me. I had to get a friend to cut my hair, and they look, I couldn't get my son to do it because he wouldn't do it. He's always loved my hair. So he was like, "Are you sure, Mom? How bad is it coming out?" I'm like, "Boy, right?
You're gonna do it now."
and he kept delaying it. He kept putting it, so I had to go somewhere else. So, some changes require a friend to stand by you, a friend to encourage you through that.
That's true.
And we have to be willing to accept each other's changes as we grow.
Right.
As we older, we change, as we mature.
I can tell you
Look, I don't walk as fast as I used to. My hips is we can go on and on about this getting mature stuff.
And there's so many things. There's a lot of topics we're going to be hitting. And you just hit something too, that my whole maturing and getting older, because some things we have to face. A lot of things we don't talk about, again, in the church, because they may be, people feel they're embarrassing or they're going to shame me or whatever. I even think about, getting older, like going to the bathroom more, right?
If you make it to the bathroom. Look, I've invested in them underwear that they say.
They let you get one of what they call a purse. Girl.
Get you a poise, get you some Depends. Look, this ain't no joke.
I tell you, but it's real talk, and it's something that we're going to be talking about. That's why we have Sister Friend. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
We want to shout out some people, though, before we wrap up. We definitely want to shout out some people. First of all, I want to tell y'all something. Guess what? Somebody's celebrating a birthday. Somebody's birthday is this week. Yes.
I'll be 56.
Yes. Could y'all just put in the chat, happy birthday? Happy birthday to Wanda. Could y'all just put that in the chat? Her birthday's on the 7th. So make sure that you go on our Facebook page and just on that day too, and just chat up, just love on her, just heart her up, all that stuff. Say happy birthday. Yes. So we are excited about being here.
We really are.
And this is because this is our heart. It's our passion. We want women to be free of guilt, free of doubt. Oh yes. Free of what people say, because we are powerful within ourselves. We have a lot to offer, and we want to put it all on the table.
All of it. Good, bad, indifferent, the ugly, the pretty, the stanky.
All that. We're going to put it all out there, y'all. So I hope y'all ready. But we want to give a few shout outs. We want to thank Candace Anderson, a songwriter.
Yes.
She did our intro music. And I know, listen, if y'all love that, you definitely want to give her a shout out too.
Please
shout her out right there now in the comments. Just say, thank you, Candy. Awesome song. You'll get a chance to hear it over and over again if you go right on our page. You can listen to as many times as you like. And we want you to definitely share and like and comment. We also want to thank Cynthia Toots, right, for the wonderful flyer. And we want to thank Steve Talbert and Nicole Edwards for their awesome technology.
Jesus, thank you, God, for that.
Listen, y'all understand?
We would be on this tonight without them.
Right, we do what we can, but I'm just saying it's good to have people.
People in the know.
People in the know. Gurus, experts. You hear me? Thank you. So we appreciate them. And last but definitely not least, and I hope I'm not forgetting anybody else, because I want to definitely, I saved him for last. And don't let me mess up the name, okay? But we want to thank Gabe. He the hustler, right? Yes.
The New Jersey hustler.
Yes. I'm telling you, that video, he did that. That is awesome. And he did the thing.
Yes, he did. He put the song with the captions he did all of that. And he did our photos as well. So we are grateful for him.
Yes,
that is my youngest son. And I'm really, I tell you, I thank God for him. He get on my last nerve. But I love that boy.
He get on his auntie's nerve too, but I love him as well. So y'all shout him out. Thank you, Gabe. We love you.
Oh, yes, we do.
We thank all of you for tuning in on tonight.
Yes, thank you for taking out the time to come to our launch party. Yes. Trust me, because anybody who knows me knows I do not do Facebook Live unless you know.
And here she is.
Talking, right? Running my mouth. But I'm grateful because I'm actually enjoying it. Not only because I'm with my sister friend, but because of all of you. Yes. And you're giving us the opportunity to talk about about these things, and you're chiming in with us, and you're being a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
So if you think of some topics that we haven't mentioned tonight, put them in the chat as well, because those, look, we don't know everything that needs to be dealt with, and we can only, keep so many things in these minds as we mature.
Yes.
Right? That's why we write everything down. Right. So if you think of anything else that you would like to talk about, or that you would like to hear us talk about, please put those in the chat as well. Or if you don't want anybody to know that you wrote the comment, DM us. Put it in our inbox, and we'll get back to it. Trust me, we will.
We will. So the last thing, I just want to see a lot of hearts floating. I want to make sure y'all hit that share button. I want to make sure you tell someone to make sure they are here first Mondays. That's when we're going to be on first Mondays right here live on Facebook. We'll also be on YouTube next month.
Right.
Well, it'll be before that because we're going to load this on. But we'll also be live on YouTube. And they said something about Twitch, but girl.
You love. Okay. I don't even have a Twitter account because too many. Well, that's too much. That's too much.
That's not Twitch, not Twitter.
I know. Look, if I don't have a Twitter account, I don't have a Twitch account. Look, all I know how to do for Instagram is post my scriptures. I don't know anything. Look,
she's doing good. It's not that bad, y'all. But thank y'all again. We are so appreciative. Listen, our prayer for you is that you would take the information, this discussion, and grow from it. Recognize your value.
Yes.
And be able to be a light in dark situations. Because that's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be light. Right? So we're going to keep it going. We're going to keep the discussion going.
Just remember, the discussion doesn't have to end here. You can always chat in the chat throughout the week, throughout the month. Yes. We'll chime in as well as time permits. We'll get back to you, and we'll have some more to say about it, because we're talking about ourselves this week, this month, just so you get to know who we are, right? So that you're comfortable with us, that you can sit down and be free, because this is a no judgment zone. No judgment. We all have a past. We all got stories. We all done messed up somewhere, sometime, even today. So it's a no
talk about that. Let's talk about it.
No, she gonna lay hands. Y'all pray for me.
But pray for us both.
So the discussion doesn't have to end here. So we want you to utilize the comment section and talk with each other. Look, let this encourage you to have conversations, those hard to have conversations, even the conversations we have to have with family members. Look, because just because they share the same DNA,
we're going to talk about that's one of our topics too.
I'm just going to leave that there.
We're going to do that right there.
So until next month, can we talk,
sister friend? Let's talk about it.
I know that's right. Good night, people.
Good
Love
night.
You all. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
One another, talking about issues that we're all facing, good, bad, indifferent. Let's talk about it from one sister to another. Let's talk about